Carl and Liam here from Games, Brains, and Head-Banging Life. gbhbl.com for sure. And as Brendan got his done on him, it's my turn to do it on Liam here. Happy Halloween, Liam. It's 13 days of Halloween, and I am doing an interview, a Halloween-themed interview, where I'm going to throw some questions your way and see what you come back with. Some of these are simply either-ors. Some of them are deep dives into your mentality, into your past, and into what makes you tick when it comes to Halloween horror stuff. So, first things first. Tell me then, what is your perfect Halloween night?
A perfect Halloween night. I mean, from a young age, I always used to go out trick-or-treating. So now I do have children. I have a young daughter, and last year I got to take her out trick-or-treating for the first time, and I was just to enjoy just seeing all the Halloween decorations that people put out. Unfortunately, in England, we don't get as many people put as much effort on to put on display. I've always seen in TV shows set in America. We do the Goosebumps series. I mentioned the episode with the two pumpkin head alien characters. I forget what it's called now, but they go to like a street where it's all lit up with Halloween decorations and stuff. And I always, even though it's quite cheesy and tacky, like even like a Christmas is why I just enjoy like the Halloween decorations and just that sort of ghoulish vibe and the way like it all looks and stuff. I've got like sort of nostalgic feel for that kind of stuff. So like just seeing that just like on display, like out and about and trick or treating, that kind of stuff, just the fun aspect of it. Yeah.
Okay. What is the perfect Halloween horror to put on?
If I was going to put on any horror movie at Halloween that I consider to be like the most perfect, I mean, obviously I've got like my favorite horror movies, so I could possibly pick one of those. But perfect as in terms of like what's the best Halloween themed horror movie, or just like what would
the summation of Halloween, if it would be yourself and your partner watching, perhaps you and your kids, what would encapsulate Halloween for you?
What would encapsulate Halloween? Well, I mean, I can't think of like obviously like there are great Halloween themed horror movies. You know, the original Halloween or Trick or Treat is another good one. I like that. But yeah, maybe I'd pick Trick or Treat, I suppose. Yeah.
Good choice. That's an interesting choice because it almost weights. The question almost weights towards Halloween 1978. So it's always nice to see something else that I would consider very, very Halloweeny in Trick or Treat.
Yeah, definitely. Or maybe like, even though it's a bit more cheesy, and I guess it's a Disney movie after all, I do quite like the original Hocus Pocus. Like, I mean, I think that just has like that vibe, that like that sort of Halloween vibe, and that I don't mind that
Nostalgia
one.
blinds people. Nostalgia blinds people.
I watched a sequel recently. It's not good, so.
Yeah. All right. In our best ghost voice, ghost face voice, what's your personal favorite scary movie and why?
Right. My personal favorite scary movie is the original House movie from 1986, with Roger Cobb in it as the inheritor of his grandmother's mansion, and he goes to stay there, and he's suffering from PTSD from his time in Vietnam. And I just have super like crazy nostalgia for this movie. Probably saw it way too young, even though it kind of like is the reason why I love horror comedy so much, because it just combines those two elements so well. It has some really like scary moments in it and great atmosphere, but then it has a light-hearted side as well that I just think like meshes so well with the scary side. And I love the characters in it. Yeah, I think it's just a great, perfect movie in my opinion.
It is an underrated classic, heavily underrated.
Heavily underrated. Not one you'll see many people throw out there, and I think it deserves a bit more love.
You say you saw that quite young then. I wonder if it ties into this. What's your earliest memory of seeing a horror movie?
My earliest memory. I mean, I wouldn't know what age I was at all, so I couldn't say like if this would have been like the earliest. But I mean, House is a good example because I do remember the very opening of House very vividly. It's the moment where the grocery boy comes to the house to deliver the groceries to Roger's grandmother at her house, and the door's open, so he's coming in, and he makes his way upstairs, and he creeps into this room, and like it looks like an ordinary room in the shot, the way it's shot, it looks like there's nothing in the room, but then suddenly like her corpse swings across the front of the shot of that's there, and you see her like swinging, and she's like been hung, and she's like all blue and stuff like that. And I remember that like very early on. I
Mm.
saw that very early on, and it stuck with me. So maybe that one.
No, it's a good one. It is I can picture everything you just described. I can picture the entire sequence, you know.
Yeah, freaked me out.
Have you, talk about freaking out then, have you ever experienced something unusual or unexplainable in real life?
I mean, um, it's, I guess it's unexplainable, but I used to work in a school basically, and I had a job of coming into this school in the morning with like a big ring of keys, and I'd have to go around the school, the entire grounds of the school, open all the doors and stuff like that. I remember one morning, I'd have to go outside, and it would be because it would be like 6 in the morning. It would still be kind of dark. That kind of period of time where the sun's kind of rising, so it's kind of like got a bit of lightness to it, but not completely pitch black, so you can see where you're going and stuff like that. And I'd have to go from the top of the school, which is at the top of this hill, all the way down these outside steps to the lower like gymnasium area to unlock this door. I remember I heard like the sound of a crying baby like within the grounds, and I shit you not, like, I did. I heard it. Maybe it was from a house further away, but the school is very isolated, as in like it's near Blackheath Common, and there's nothing really around it, no like residential houses or anything like that. And I heard the sound of a crying baby. I still remember the sound of it to this day, and it's like I don't like believing ghosts anyway or anything like that. That's not something I do believe in, but I heard that with clear as day, and like it didn't like go endlessly. It was kind of like just a burst of like a crying baby. It was like uncanny, you know what a crying baby sounds like.
Yeah.
And then that just like really freaked me out because I'm completely alone in this. I was the only person in this school, and like I'm the first person that comes in, unlocks everything, so no one else there, and that scared me. Yeah.
Nice, nice. That's a good one. Okay. What is the best modern horror you've seen recently? And by modern, I mean in the last 5 to 6 years.
Hmm. Best recently. I'm I have like a terrible short-term memory. Like, I think it's probably having two kids and being dragged around and doing shit every day. But because I think I might have given a movie like a 10 out of 10 recently, but I can't remember what it was. But one that jumps to mind, I'll just put out there is Malignant movie, the new James Wan movie.
Okay.
I think I gave that like a 9 out of 10. A 9 out of 10. Don't know if you've seen it, but that has some like really crazy shit in terms of like the effects and the big twist in that with this woman that has something that she feels like is on the back of her head and what it turns out to be. And yeah, I thought that was really really damn good.
Okay. Okay. What about your favorite type of horror then? So I'm talking about style here more than anything else.
I mean, that's easy for me. I love horror comedies. I love the 80s sort of setting and aesthetic. So movies like The Lost Boys, Fright Night, like I said, House, they like just mesh horror, like horror and like gore and or Evil Dead 2, Army of Darkness, that type of stuff, but with like a more like light-hearted tone. And it's more like Return of the Living Dead even, Like I think those two just mesh so perfectly well. I don't know what it is, but yeah, I love that genre. That's my favorite.
Horror comedy is nice. Okay. What's a horror cliche that you just hate?
Well, a horror cliche that I hate. Well, I've watched the VHS found footage movies recently, and I did a top 10 on the site. It was the worst cliches in found footage movies. And one thing that I do really hate is when they put screen like distortions in like horror movies, they're found footage movies where they'll have like flickering across the screens and stuff like that, and it makes like visibility like really difficult. I really hate like, unnecessary screen distortions, especially when they just make like completely no sense, and it's just like clearly something they've added in like in post production, and I just like find that really annoying. Yeah.
Okay, good choice. Good choice. All right, what are we up to now? All right, Freddie, Michael, or Jason? Who's your favorite and why? So this applies to the franchises of each series as well.
I'd have to go with Freddy Krueger just because his franchise I probably watched the most back to back, like as many times as I can remember. And just yeah, I think Robert Englund is just really like iconic as Freddy. I think because obviously Jason is under a mask and so is Michael, you don't really get like as much of a performance from the actors. It could kind of be anyone under there, and you wouldn't really care. So I think like Freddy, because you can see the actor performing and stuff like that, and that makes him stand out for me.
Okay. 70s sleaze or 80s cheese? What's your poison?
Oh I mean, 80s by far. 80s is just I love the 80s. Yeah,
Any
so
particular
just like
reason?
just at the pin. I think it's just the pinnacle. There's like a period of time between like the mid to late 80s, early 90s when like some of the best horrors came out. Through that period of time. Some of my favorites, like some ones I mentioned, like Reanimator and things like that. Just that period of time. Just I think was the golden age of like practical effects and just they got there's a lot of so much originality during that period of time and like a lot of stuff from then has been remade and just like rehashed and I just feel like that was just the golden era of like my style of horror that I love. Yeah.
Perfect. Okay, would you rather? So you've got to put yourself in the imagination of the worlds that these exist in. So, would you rather spend the night in 112 Ocean Avenue, aka Amityville House, or Hill House, aka the place from The Haunting / The Haunting of Hill House?
Well, I would I'd go with Hill House simply because I've always loved the idea of going to like an actual haunted house because you hear these stories about real haunted houses existing and stuff like that, and I think we all know that basically it's just a thing where people are probably playing pranks on you. But if ghosts are real, I'm open to being proved wrong. Basically, it doesn't like ghosts that are just kind of like a presence within like a property. And yeah, obviously, like in those movies, they are trying to harm people and doing all sorts of shit, but less so than in Amityville House, where you're going to get possessed and probably made to like kill yourself or a family member or something like that. So yeah, I'd go with the Hill House.
So far, that's the same one everyone else has chose. Would you rather play a game, e.g., Saw, or be shown such sights, e.g., Hellraiser?
I mean, playing a game, I guess you have more of a possibility of survival than Hellraiser, unless you can like, I mean, you could say to Pinhead that you're gonna make a trade, so there's that possibility,
He
but then
loves
you'd
a
have to live with
bargain.
yeah, then you'd have to live with the guilt of doing that, unless you really hated someone, I suppose. But yeah, I'd have to go with play a game, even though that wouldn't be fun. And with the later Saw movies, the chance of survival with those is not very good anyway.
Good, good, good. Would you rather have a good guy doll, Chucky, or an Annabelle doll, e.g., Annabelle / The Conjuring?
Hmm. I suppose probably the good guy doll because I mean either way you're screwed, aren't you? So it's not really like a good choice. Either way, they're like possessed dolls that are unkillable and somehow keep coming back out time and time again. It's not really a good choice either way.
That's it. Okay. Would you rather be stuck in the Burkittsville, Maryland woods, Blair
Hmm.
Witch, or stuck in the caves of the Appalachian Mountains, the Descent?
Uh, well, that's a terrible choice. I don't know really. On one side, you're gonna like die from like the psychological trauma of like a witch fucking with you until she's tired of fucking with you and then decides to kill you in some way, or get torn apart by weird creatures that live in a cave system. I guess the woods one because it's like you might live a little bit longer. I don't know.
Okay, then last one of the would you rather. Would you rather be hunted by the predator or by the alien?
Hmm. Predator or the alien? Well, I'd rather be hunted by the predator simply because if I bowed down to the predator, didn't hold any weapons, and showed him that I was no threat, he might not fuck with me at all. So there's that. Whereas the xenomorph is just like a killing machine and doesn't really give a fuck and will like kill you no matter what. The predator has some logic.
You know what? Everyone keeps answering this in a way that's doing my nutting, doing my
So everyone
ignoring
say that.
the obvious issue that the alien may not kill you. Instead, you may end up impregnated with a chest burster. Do you want that? At least the predator's just going to rip your spine out and skin you. You're dead then.
It'll be quicker. It'll be quicker. Yeah, with the predator as well. Yeah, that's true. I don't want to get impregnated and have a chest buster come out of my chest.
Everyone keeps overlooking
Nope.
that part. Jesus. All right, last one. And it's this. What character do you think you would be if you were in a traditional slasher movie? So we're talking about the nerd, the jock, the cheerleader, the final girl, and so on.
I mean, I'd love to be the final girl. That'd be a good role to have. But I think based on watching a lot of different horror movies and survivalist type stuff that I've seen and learned, I'd like to think that I have some survivalist experience and might be able to last a little bit of time in a if it was like a zombie apocalypse, for example. But what character would I be in a traditional one? Probably the nerd, because I have like a lot of nerdy useless knowledge about certain things, so probably that one. And the nerds, they don't normally always die first, but they always die in normally the most like comical ways. So at least I'd have like quite an interesting death, I suppose.
And sometimes the nerd, if it's the right movie, sometimes the nerd gets an honorable death where he saves someone.
That's true. So there's that. Yeah.
That's it. That's the Halloween horror interview. If you've got any thoughts or answers yourself, you know what to do. Let us know in the comments. Thank you very much for watching. If you liked what you saw, please help us out by giving us a thumbs up and hitting that subscribe button. If you really liked what you saw, consider donating to keep the website and channel running by buying us a coffee via our coffee page or picking up some merch from our Big Cartel store. You can check us out on gbhbl.com as well as via our social media, Facebook, Instagram and Twitter, as well as listen to our interviews via SoundCloud, Apple Music and Spotify. Just search for GBHBL. Games, horror and heavy metal. What else is life for?